Let me tell you a story that stretches back over 3 millennia, long before pop charts and red carpets. Imagine ancient Kemet, what we now call Egypt, overrun by foreign invaders, the Hyksos, who ruled with the chaos of their god, set for 200 years. But amidst that darkness, a prophecy flickered, the rise of the Divine One, Queen Ahmose Nefertari, a real-life black diva, rallied her armies and, with her brother Ahmose I, drove out the invaders, restoring cosmic balance, order against chaos. Now, you might be thinking, what's this got to do with Whitney Houston? Well, this idea of a divine, transformative black feminine power didn't die in the desert sands. It echoes through history, through dynasties, through every black woman who stands as a symbol of hope, change, and even threat to the powers that be. In storytelling terms, she's the archetype of the hero, disruptive, courageous, and, above all, unforgettable. Why do societies fear and try to capture and kill the Divine One? Because her essence challenges every structure of oppression and chaos. She's not just a person, she's a paradigm shift. Fast forward to the 21st century, and the Black Diva is no longer myth, she's flesh, voice, and legend. Picture Grammy Week, 2012. Whitney Houston, crowned as the most awarded female artist in history, is the gravitational center of music's biggest celebration. Guinness World Records, 6 Grammys, over 400 career awards, her accolades read like a modern royal decree. How does a single woman ascend so high, you might ask? Talent is the obvious answer, but it's more than that. It's about symbolic currency. Whitney's voice wasn't just powerful, it was a force of nature, a cultural disruptor, a challenge to every myth about Black musicality and womanhood. In economic terms, she was a priceless commodity. Her success could make Wall Street stocks rise and fall. And yet, her presence was quietly revolutionary. Whitney shattered stereotypes each time she sang. Her mere existence, let alone her artistry, threatened any system built on limiting Black excellence. Let's get metaphysical for a moment. When people talked about Whitney Houston's melanin magic, it wasn't just poetic flair. There's a scientific term for the pigment that gives skin its color, melanin. But in cultural narratives, especially among the oppressed, melanin is seen as a source of spiritual dynamism, a treasury that can't be quantified. Now, you might say, isn't that just symbolism? Yes, but symbols are everything. In Whitney, fans saw an energy that could absorb and transform, like the pineal gland, sometimes called the black dot, believed by some spiritualists to channel higher consciousness. Her performances, think of her 1991 Super Bowl national anthem, were more than entertainment. They were collective catharsis, explosions of light and sound that lifted entire communities. That's the alchemy of the superstar. She turns personal pain and joy into public power. Isn't that the closest thing to magic most of us will ever witness? Why did Whitney Houston resonate so deeply with the global poor and oppressed? Listen to the words from The Greatest Love of All. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. That's not just pop lyricism. That's a survival mantra. In psychological warfare, yes, that's an actual military term for manipulating minds. Self-love becomes an act of resistance. Houston's ballads taught listeners to find worth within, no matter the external attack. But can songs really save lives? You might wonder, Ask any kid who grew up bullied, marginalized, or unseen, and they'll tell you music is therapy. Hers was a spiritual transmission, a lesson in inner sovereignty. And that, my friends, is why she transcended race, class, and circumstance. That's also why, to some powers, she was dangerous, a black diva whose message was emancipation. Now let's zoom into February 2012. Whitney Houston arrives in Los Angeles for the Grammys, a high-security, high-stakes environment. But here's the paradox. Despite being a multi-million-dollar asset, she's portrayed as isolated, erratic, and vulnerable. Reports claim she wandered the halls of the Beverly Hilton, inebriated, disoriented, even bleeding. How could this happen, you ask? Homeland Security, LAPD, private security, none of them on high alert? It's like leaving a diamond in a hurricane and expecting it to be safe. Either total negligence, or let's be honest, a setup. In intelligence lingo, this is called a cover story. The media narrative paints her as the architect of her own demise, but underneath there's a chilling pattern: celebrities of color, isolated and unprotected, in moments of greatest vulnerability. Is it coincidence, or is there a hidden hand guiding the chaos? Let's talk about gatekeepers. Clive Davis, legendary music exec, architect of careers, including Whitney's. But behind the glitz, there's a web woven with oligarchy and secrecy. Did you know CBS, Davis's old stomping ground, has a documented history of CIA ties and psychological operations, PSYOPs for short, used to shape public perception? It sounds like a spy thriller, but it's real. In the music industry, control isn't just about contracts, it's about narrative management. When Clive Davis publicly withdrew support from Whitney, citing her struggles, it didn't just hurt her career, it shifted the story. Contrast that to Adele, a white British singer who was protected, medically pampered, and given the space to heal when her voice faltered. Why the double standard? Is it just business, or something deeper, systemic gatekeeping, coded in both race and power dynamics? Now you might be thinking, is this all a conspiracy? Well, sometimes. The proof of the crime is in the cover-up. Let's put the final act under the spotlight. The ancient cry, "Capture and kill the Divine One," echoes into the present. Whitney's tragic death, shrouded in mystery, isn't just a personal tragedy. It's a symbolic sacrifice. In security terminology, we talk about chains of custody: who was where, who was responsible, who let their guard down. The official story suggests chaos, but behind closed doors, every move was likely monitored, cataloged, and perhaps orchestrated. The possibility of program destruction, MK Ultra style manipulation, industry blacklisting, even insurance schemes lurks in the subtext. You might be asking, could this really happen in plain sight? History answers, again and again, yes. The larger lesson here? Black excellence that cannot be co-opted often faces invisible warfare. From the ancients to the icons, the devil is always in the details. So, where does all this leave us? Whitney Houston's story, like that of Queen Amose Nefertari before her, remains a battleground for narrative. Is she forever the fallen star, undone by her own weaknesses, or a victim of systems too invested in control to let true freedom flourish? The term psyop might sound like science fiction, but in today's world, narrative is everything. Who tells your story determines your legacy. That's why, even in death, Whitney's presence unsettles the powerful. She's the symbol of a love that endures, a dignity that can't be stripped away, not by scandal, not by slander, not by the machinations of invisible hands. As you listen, ask yourself, in celebrating her, are we honoring her humanity, her divinity, or simply repeating the cycle? The fight for the soul of the Black Diva is ongoing. And that, my friends, is a song that refuses to end.